You know, engineers like me are always trying to build a better mousetrap. In my case, I'm trying to build a better squirrel trap. It's important for me to relocate squirrels because they destroy my Christmas display in December. This year, I've introduced SquirrelTrap 3.0, which is the first digital version. It said that when you have a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. Well, when you are a software engineer, every problem looks like it needs better software. I'm going to first show you SquirrelTrap 2.0 and the deficiencies it has that led to the creation of SquirrelTrap 3.0. Revision 2 of the SquirrelTrap. The first revision used the same box but used a friction mechanism to release the door, and that didn't work very well. So I redesigned it with this. This system basically has a seesaw in it. So when the weight moves from this side of the seesaw to this side where the food is, the seesaw will tilt. And as the seesaw tilts, this rod right here, which is made out of a coat hanger, slides down and will release this piece of metal here, which is made out of a license plate. That piece of metal is pulled by the weight of this lock on this string. And when that metal slides down, it pulls the coat hanger out of the eye loop holding the door open. And that will cause the squirrel to get trapped. So I'm going to demonstrate how that works. Pretend that this is a squirrel. The squirrel goes into the trap and says, "Oh, I see food down there. Let me go down there." The squirrel walks up the seesaw. The weight of the squirrel on that end of the seesaw will tilt the seesaw down. It releases this. That will cause this to slide. And then the door closes and the squirrel is trapped. This is a pretty good design, but it has several problems. The biggest problem is there's many different moving parts. This piece can jam. This might not pull all the way out of the door. The squirrel can jump around on the top of this and accidentally release the door. But the biggest problem, and I actually have a video of this, is that it's possible for the squirrel to come into the trap, and as soon as the floor begins to move, the squirrel immediately runs out of the trap, quickly. But it runs out in such a way that it begins the tilting method of the seesaw, and then the trap prematurely closes with a squirrel outside the trap. So we need a better design. Okay, so here we have the digital squirrel trap. All of the electronics are safely inside of this pipe. You can see over on the other side there are infrared emitters which come across to these infrared detectors. When the microprocessor in there notices a squirrel, it will send a signal up to that solenoid right there to release the trap door. Okay, what we have here is the electronics for the new digital squirrel trap control system, housed inside of a nice, tough, weatherproof and squirrel-proof 2-inch PVC pipe. Most of the pipe is actually consumed by holding up the power supply, which is a couple of about 8 C-cell batteries. You can see the top of the last battery sitting in the pipe down there. And the batteries power this circuit board here. The center of the circuit board is this chip right here. This is, of course, the famous PIC microcontroller. It's basically a microprocessor and some non-volatile RAM, I/O ports, all on a single chip. And that switches on a transistor which sends off, serves as just an amplifier to go to the light emitting diodes. These are infrared LEDs sitting down in those pipes. You have to have a microcontroller to run them because the sensors don't require just a solid light beam. They require a pulse signal, just like the one that comes from your clicker on your television. Those go to these infrared receivers, sitting down in this tube. Let's see if we can get a little light down in there. It's basically just another chip sitting down there that sends a logic signal back up to the microcontroller. And when the microcontroller sees that both of those beams of infrared light are blocked, it will switch on this power transistor right here, which will send a 12-volt signal over to the solenoid, and the solenoid will get pulled in and let this trapdoor close. Okay, let's test it out. Okay, we're ready for the test. Here comes the squirrel. It says, oh look, some delicious food inside of a trap. Let me go in here and see this. Oh, this looks so safe. There's no moving parts anywhere. Oh, look, here's some delicious nuts. Oh, squirrel is caught. Microprocessor control.
And I took his movie.
Now, I'd like to show you a live demonstration of the trap in operation. We have a squirrel that has volunteered to demonstrate the operation of Trap 3.0. The squirrel comes in and, of course, is treated to a delicious buffet of fresh nuts and seeds. As the squirrel comes in, he is not able to see the pulsating beams of infrared light that are crossing the trap. They're completely invisible. As he proceeds and breaks both beams, the microprocessor closes the trap door, and mission accomplished. That was so good, let's see it again in slow motion. The squirrel crosses the beams. The microprocessor releases the solenoid. The squirrel says, huh, what was that little click that I just heard? Was that a solenoid closing the door? The door is securely closed before the squirrel has the time to even turn around, much less try to orchestrate a quick exit out of the trap. A smashing success.